It might have taken a few overtimes, but we are finally into round 2 of the NHL playoffs. Carmine and Andrew here to break down some games. And Carm, man, I thought we could be up all night last night watching Game 7 of Winnipeg. And of course, I thought that we were going to see them go out. I thought we were going to see them get knocked out. And I thought the Blues were going to move on. But with 1.6 seconds left, they tie it up and send us into overtime and get the job done in double overtime. Colorado, Dallas as well. The Mikko Rantanen show, as Mikko puts up 4 points on his revenge tour against the Avalanche, send the Dallas Stars to the round 2. So, I mean, is it the plan now in these game 7s for teams to just go down early? Because it sounds like that's the best idea for these teams, the teams that just can't hold leads right now, Carm.
Yeah, Andrew, what a game! What a series of games we saw between Saturday and Sunday. Just unbelievable. The Colorado one. I was on Colorado, so I wasn't happy about that one. It pretty much bookend two of my teams losing with 2-0 leads. I was just a viewer yesterday and a fan of the game. What a phenomenal game. It looked like Winnipeg were dead in the water. Once that third goal went in and make it 3-1, I thought these guys are done. But kudos to this team, man. They just came back. They came back, Andrew. Perfetti. I know there's some Italian blood in that Perfetti name, because I think his dad's name is Anthony and his mom's name is, or his dad's name is Anthony or Angelo. His mom's name is Sandra. Those are Italian names. I'm sporting the Italia jersey today, or thing today, in honor of my mom, who's celebrating her heavenly birthday today. So happy birthday to her. With that said, Andrew, just a phenomenal Game 7. What a way to cap it off. It's absolutely unbelievable hockey. And let's just hope the second round is as good as the first round. We saw some very good matchups. We saw some, not a lot of surprises, I must say, but the teams we thought would win got through, with the exception of maybe one. It's going to be a great second round of the NHL playoffs. And so on today's show, we're going to discuss Game 1 of the Atlantic, Florida Panthers, Toronto Maple Leafs. And then Andrew and I are going to quickly look at some series prices, all 4 series, and some thoughts on those as well, too. Andrew, before we get to the Leafs game, I just want to mention, because I know a lot of you guys are tuning in on different platforms, whether you're on YouTube, the X, whether you're on Instagram. Please do us a favor, take a minute, hit that like button, hit the heart button on the X or Instagram. Drop a comment in the comment section below. Let us know who you like in tonight's game. We love the feedback, and we try and get to as many questions as we can throughout the show, time permitting. But with that said, we appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. Andrew, Florida Panthers. I remember this time last year, Andrew, I had a shirt made up just to bug the Prez. It was in blue, and all it said was, "We want Florida," because the fans in Toronto cheered, "We want Florida. We want Florida." They got Florida, and they got bounced. Andrew, do they want Florida this year?
I don't think anybody wants Florida, Carm. That's for sure. I don't think anybody should want Florida. And you know what? I completely regret the take that I had that the injuries would be too much for them. The chemistry might not be there. I mean, anything that we could have tried to put together to say negatively about the Florida Panthers never ended up really coming true. I guess the one thing we can say is that I believe the Lightning had a lead twice. I think back to that game. I think it was game number 3, where it was 2-1 Tampa, and then you snap your fingers and all of a sudden the score is 4-2 Florida. And that's how they can hurt you. They can score in multiple different ways. They have all kinds of players that can contribute. But if you want to play in low-scoring games, they'll meet you right there. If you want to play in high-scoring games, they have no issue doing that either. So this team, though, however, is built to be a little bit of a different team this year in the playoffs, this Maple Leafs team. And I know the top 6 players stepped up. especially in that elimination game against Ottawa. Carm, we saw Matthews get on the board. William Nylander got 2 goals on his birthday. Some of these guys playing very well, but to me, it's the bottom 6 and it's the unsung heroes. I mean, when you've got defensemen scoring goals, when you have a guy like Max Pacioretty scoring what ended up being the game winner, that's what really makes the difference in a series. You need to have players like that. I do think it's cool. I always love when storylines align, like we saw with Mikko Rantanen and Dallas and beating Colorado. I mean, writers didn't even have to think about what they were going to talk about after that game. Well, in this one, I don't want to say big brother against little brother, but this is a story, Carm, of a backup goaltender from Florida last year who has a Stanley Cup ring, now being a starting goaltender on the team that won the Atlantic Division, looking to go head-to-head against Sergei Bobrovsky. And that's Anthony Stolarz, who you and I both know has been very strong this season, but this is going to be, of course, his biggest test. And he's very familiar with a lot of the players on this team. So it's always cool to see that. And, of course, Steven Lorentz, who played on Florida last year. So the familiarity is really interesting. And I said at the start of the year how important it is for Toronto to win the division and to get that wild card game under their belt. And let's be honest, it wasn't easy against Ottawa. They had like 3 or 4 games in a row that were all practically 1-goal games, but they did get the job done. They get some confidence now for how they've played. Now they get to move forward here, Carm. I'll tell you, I like the first period over. I think I've seen a lot of these game ones of round 1. We saw a bang early on. And then there was a trend we all noticed where games 2 of these series were the under games, both first period and full game, where it's like, okay, we got our excitement. We got all of our juice out of our system. Let's play some defense now and let's try and win a low scoring game. We saw it in the Winnipeg game, Winnipeg series game 1. They won in high scoring fashion. Game 2, they won 2-1. We saw it in the Colorado and Dallas one. We saw it in the Ottawa and Toronto series. We saw it in a lot of these different series where games 1 and 2 were very different as far as over-unders. So I like the first period over in this game, Carm. I think we see a lot of hype going into this game from both teams, and especially Toronto. I mean, look, Allmark had maybe a shaky start to the series, but he really got it going and made things tough on on Toronto. And I think that Toronto has some goals in them to get out. But the biggest key is going to be defense. But I'll throw it back to you with this. What do you think about that goaltending matchup? I mean, the fact that one guy was the backup last year on the team that won the cup, and now he's trying to knock them out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I've been listening to a lot of sports radio over the weekend, and just listening to different takes from different guys. And I heard one from Elliot Friedman, excuse me, that I tend to agree with. He's talking about round 2, and he's talking about the Florida Panthers, and he's talking about Sergei Bobrovsky, and he's saying that he thinks Bobrovsky is the best goalie in the league right now. It's hard to argue it. I get it. You got a good team in front of him. Vasilevsky in that series, a bit of a drop off, still a very good goalie, but right now he's playing. I think he's playing in goal better than any other goalie. Mad respect, obviously, to Hellebuck, but he was a little shaky in the St. Louis series. We'll see what he does in the Dallas series. But this is going to be a great series. You talked about the first period over, and I tend to lean the same way with you, because these teams are familiar with themselves. They played 4 times during the regular season. They played that playoff series last year. There's not much that either team is hiding. But game ones in the first round were high scoring. In the Western Conference, all 4 game ones in the Western Conference went over the total. In the Eastern Conference, 2 of 4 went over the total. And you can make a case that the other 2 games that stayed under the total were games that likely would have stayed under the total. Montreal and Washington finishes 3-2, I believe. And then the other one was a 3-2. I think it was a 3-2 or 4-1 game. 4-1 game for Carolina in their game against New Jersey. So those are the only ones that stayed under the total, but at least 5 goals scored in every single game, with 6 of 8 going over the total. These teams have been off the 30th and May 1st. the two series ending for these two teams. It's been a bit of a layoff for them. You can say, great, it's given them some time to rest. I think these guys just want to get back on the ice. Maybe we see an open game in game one. I don't think it's going to be a feeling out process. These teams know what the other team brings, but I think we're going to see some scoring. The Leafs top six have to be a lot better than they were in the last series against the Ottawa Senators. They're going to have to be much better. And all four lines they roll out are going to have to be better against this Florida team, because this Florida team is on a mission to make it back to the Stanley Cup Finals. There's something about that water in Florida, Andrew. The Tampa Bay Lightning, 2 Stanley Cups, and then they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. Florida Panthers make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, lose, win the next one. Maybe it's the reverse. Maybe they make it there again and win it. Something in the water there, or maybe it's just the fact that it is a state that has no tax and players love it because they can spend January on the beach after a practice. What do you think?
Part of the reason, I would say. It's got to be part of the reason there for them. But I mean, the thing is, too, is we can complain about the cap and we complain about the LTIR, Carm, but we had somebody in the live chat right now, and we appreciate all you guys here with us. Sabur Nasser says any injury report, and the good thing for Florida, man, did they ever have one hell of an injury report, Carm, about a month and a half ago, right? And now you look at their injury report, zilch, zip, nothing. They got healthy when it matters the most. And a credit to you, because you talked about it a lot on PuckTime. This team did not care if they came first in the Atlantic, second in the Atlantic, or third in the Atlantic. They knew they were a top 3 Atlantic team. They wanted to get into the postseason and go from there. They got healthy. That's what they did. And now they have nobody really missing from their lineup besides one player. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Carm, but I believe it's still one game remaining for the suspension of Aaron Ekblad, who came back only to get suspended after he had that long suspension for an illegal substance. And, you know, we don't want to spend too much time on it, but situation was weird because, you know, there's been some questionable hits throughout the entire playoffs. But when it comes down to it, that was like a forearm to the head. And the comments from Brandon Hagel, he pretty much said, purposely going for someone's head, it's as bad as you get. You only get one brain. Like, he made that personal. He didn't make that about hockey. He made that personal. And he said, I would have gotten my ass kicked. I would have answered the bell, and I would have fought Ekblad or anybody on Florida if I had to, compared to getting a forearm to the head. So kind of some tough choice of words there from Hagel. He really spoke his mind with the media, with the locker room cleanouts for Tampa Bay. But no Ekblad is important to mention here. As far as the Maple Leafs, nobody that would have been in the lineup is missing as of right now. Mitch Marner just had his firstborn yesterday, and today is his birthday. So if that means anything to you guys, William Nylander had 2 goals on his birthday in the closeout game, Carm. I'm not trying to push conspiracies here, but it is Marner's birthday, and he had a kid yesterday. Who knows, man? Who knows?
Yeah, Andrew, 2 points in different order. Number one, until you experience it, when we're talking about like shots to the head, until you experience it, you never understand it fully. I've gone through it years past. I think right when I was starting at WagerTalk, ended up in the hospital. Doctors weren't even sure I was going to wake up out of the, I was out cold. It was a coma. And then I had to do neural rehab with my speech. That's why I throw in a bunch of ums, and guys will tease me on it. But speech therapy, walking, everything. I had to do a lot of it just to strengthen it. So you understand it after you've been through it. I've been in that machine getting those CT scans too many times to even mention, but the number is 9 with that. And as far as birthdays go, you mentioned birthdays. I mentioned my heavenly birthday for my mom up there. Russell Deck, one of our regulars who is here each and every day, tuned in. It is his birthday, his brother's birthday, and his mom's birthday. 555. Can you believe that? Happy birthday, Russell Deck, to the clan in your family. Hopefully it is a winning day for you, my friend. I think you've already won as far as that goes. Andrew, let's talk some series prices because we've got some good ones here. Since we're on the Leafs game tonight,
Let's
let's
stick
start
with
with
it.
that one first. You have Florida minus 185, Toronto plus 155. Florida has Toronto has home ice, and they are plus 155 in the series. It's got to say a lot. What do you think?
I think that I kind of want Toronto to win game one so I can take Florida afterwards. That's what I think. This series has no pre-flop bet written all over it for me. That's how I feel. I mean, I might be a Maple Leafs fan tonight just so I can take Florida to win the series after game one with the adjusted price. As we always talk about, you can make bets during the series. You can make it after game one, game two, whatever it may be. You can make those adjustments. So I feel like that's kind of what I'd like to look at here, Carm. When you look at the matchup between these two teams overall, and you look at the regular season, I think we saw a really good mix of both. But we did see the Leafs play pretty well against them, and but at the end of the day, Florida went 3-1 against them, and they outscored Toronto 13-7. The only thing is, when you look at that, is that there were a handful of close games there where the scoring just came late. So I do give the edge to Florida. I don't really care about the home ice in this one. Don't like that price whatsoever. I'm cheering for Toronto to win so I can jump in and get a much better price in game two for the series.
Oh, okay, it's got to be money related because I could never see you wanting to cheer as a Montreal Canadiens fan for the Toronto Maple Leafs. But I get it. You're also Canadian. And two of your boys, just on a side note, two of your boys, my friend, playing for Team Canada, Sidney
Yes.
Crosby and Nathan McKinnon have committed to the team. So they're going to have a strong team there. Andrew, this is one that I discussed, I believe, on the Blue Line, and I think it was last Friday on the Blue Line, is with a lot of teams that are favored, such as you look at Florida, you look at Carolina, that don't have home ice in the series. I like to take the handicap on that team and turn that big minus into a plus. Now, if you figure Florida can win one of two games in Toronto, games one or two, and they take care of business at home, at the very least, they're going to win it in six, which sets up if the Florida minus 1.5 games and it's plus 115, plus 120. You can get that number on them. They just need to win one of three games in Toronto, win their games at home. And this is a series that I'm not sure is going to go 7 games. I just don't see it going 7 games. I think Florida's the better team here. I think Florida's proven they have that experience. And even with Ekblad out of the lineup, um, this Toronto's going to have to play their best hockey through 7 games to win this series. I just don't know if they have it in them to do. We haven't seen them make it past a second round of the NHL playoffs since automobiles were invented, probably. So with that said, Andrew, give me Florida minus 1.5 games plus 120-ish.
I have to ask, Carm, do you think, like, what is this price here if Florida has home ice advantage? Like, as I kept talking about, the fact that it just didn't really seem to matter if they won the division or not to be able to have access
260.
to home ice. That's
260.
crazy.
Florida wins
That's
260. Florida wins. If Florida won the division or had home ice in this series, so Florida would be about minus 260 in this one.
wow.
It's not a big stretch. I know it might sound as if it's high, and then a lot of people would be, wow, the Leafs are plus 220 to win this series. Tremendous value. Got have to take them. There is a separation between these two teams. Yes, Toronto have some star players: Austin Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Matthew Nyes. But they've had them last year. They've had them the year before. I mean, they've had them each and every year. Maybe not Matthew Nyes, but it is a team that hasn't been able to put it together for 7 games against a very good team. They got by the Ottawa Senators, and this is an Ottawa Senators team that had to play lights out hockey down the stretch to get into the playoffs, and likely were kind of happy to be there. And the Leafs almost blew a 3-0 series because had Ottawa won at home, and that went back to Toronto for Game 7. The the mental health of the collective here in Toronto would have suffered a lot. So, with that said, Andrew, I think that's the right price. It would have been in that 250, 260 range for Florida with home ice. So,
Yeah. That
what?
-1.5 bet's a good one, Carm. The -1.5 gets you a better price. And to your point, if they steal one on the road, because they're the big, that's what I find so interesting here. I keep on saying it doesn't matter the home ice, but they're the favorites here. They're the team that you have to try and find at a better price, and yet they're on the road. So we'll see. I want to mention some players for the series, keys to the series. The two Sams, Sam Reinhart, Sam Bennett, they each had 5 points, Carm, in the season series between these two clubs, between the 4 games. We all know how deep they can be. You talk about Kachuk, you talk about now adding Marchand, but you've got Verhaeghe, you've got Reinhart, 2 shooters. I'll be looking at their shot props and their point props. And for the Maple Leafs, well, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to talk about the 2 Matthews, Matthew Nyes and Austin Matthews. The 2 Matthew guys had to be playing very well. We need a goal early on in the series, I think, from Austin Matthews to, kind of get that confidence from him in the second round. And Matthew Nyes has been a boost. And I keep making fun of my Leaf friends. I know you got a bunch of Leaf friends too, that he's going to want a hell of a lot of money. And they have a whole new problem because they've got a great player with Matthew Nyes. He's built for the playoffs. He's only young, but he's going to get offer sheeted. There's going to be some teams that are going to offer sheet him. They're going to offer him more money than Toronto will. And it's going to be the old adage, the Toronto discount, stay with us, give us the discount. So I think Matthews and Matthew Nyes have to be huge for them in the series. So your game plan, -1.5. My game plan is pray that Florida doesn't win tonight and get a better price on the series moving forwards after that.
Andrew, I take the approach with the 1.5 before we get to the second one real quickly. I take the approach that Florida has to win one of 2 games in Toronto, either game 1 or game 2. If Florida was to lose game 1, I would actually double up on game and take Florida -1.5 in the series, and you're going to get a bigger plus number because I feel they're going to win one of 2 games in Toronto. So I once you take a line that they're the best team in this series and they're going to win the series, uh, unless you see something in the first couple of games that's going to change your mind, you're going to stick with it. So we'll see. Toronto has to play, like I said, their best over this 7-game series, and maybe with a coach who emphasizes defense first, and he's done it all season long with them in Greg Berube. Maybe we do see a different team that is tooled to try and slow Florida down, try and grind out those 3-2 type of wins. But we'll see whether that happens or not.
I gotta say one thing, Carm. I don't
Yeah,
think that's the only problem is that's the Berube style. But from where I'm sitting, I think that lower scoring benefits Florida and higher scoring benefits Toronto. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Berube has helped them win lower scoring games. But at the end of the day, I think Florida would love nothing more than to play in a 2-1 game. That's the thing that I think might be difficult for Toronto. I think Toronto's key to success is to average 3 or 4 goals a game. Florida's key to success is to hit everything in sight, be pests, be physical, and win 2-1. I think that unders and Florida kind of do correlate a little bit,
yeah.
but obviously they can score.
Like my final thought and my last final thought is, and the Florida Panthers have who other than Brad Marchand on the team
Yeah, yeah.
as well too, just for that little knife, you know what I mean? That he's going to get under somebody's skin. But speaking of getting under the skin, Washington Capitals must be a little ticked. The number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and they're plus 145 with home ice against Carolina. How are you playing this one?
Carm, people have been tweeting about this format. because the format actually ended up producing some really, really strong round ones. So then you see people saying, well, maybe Bettman actually knew what he was doing all along with this first round. But at the end of the day, now you look at this second round, the second round should be a little bit different. These matchups should not all be what they are currently. And that's because of the format that we have right now. You know, when you look at it, we should have had some different teams. We should have had some different matchups. And you know, looking at it now, Carolina, Florida, should that have been the mix? Should we be seeing Carolina, Florida right now? Should this be the matchup? I'm not really sure, but like you said, now we're seeing Washington, Carolina, and I've been saying this for a couple weeks now. Is that I believe that Carolina, since the whole Rantanen thing happened, has been really under talked about. And the betting markets haven't really said that because they have held strong on Carolina. The Hurricanes had a 2-1-1 record against the Capitals this season. And the only thing I worry about is that I truly believe, Carm, that they were not tested very much. And you can call me biased, and I have no problem getting called out on it. But I do know, just based on score results, that the Canadian series had some tight games in it and had a lot of one-goal games in it against the Washington Capitals. And there were some physical games. It seems to me that even in the games that, you know, were close and the overtime games, of course, how Carolina won their series, I didn't really ever have a slither of doubt that Carolina was winning that series. Not that I had a doubt the Capitals were going to win that series, but it seemed to me like they were just cruising along. I don't think they got battle tested enough. And I know they went to overtime, and I know that the Devils, you know, they managed to kind of get a win on home ice and do well there, but I worry about the battle tested style here for Carolina. But I also think they're going to match up very well against the Capitals because they're a team that can play physical, play along the boards. If they stick to their game plan, they don't take too many penalties, Carolina's the deeper team. I like Washington because you know what? They didn't have one single player that went to the Four Nations tournament. Logan Thompson didn't make it as the goaltender. None of the Canadians on there made it. None of the Americans on there made it. And of course, Russia wasn't in the tournament, so Ovechkin wasn't there. They have a deep team as well, but I think Carolina moves on. I did mention on PuckTime earlier last week, before the Habs and Capitals series ended, the biggest value was 10-1 to win the cup on the Capitals, because I just thought they were really undervalued. But at this point, I think this is appropriate. I think Carolina gets the job done.
Andrew, I agree with you. I'm going to keep it short and to the point. And to one of our followers, Wash Redskins, who's always in our chat. No disrespect to the Washington Capitals. I've loved them all year long, man. They've been playing some great hockey, Andrew. But this one, you know, I mean, I think if Carolina gets good goaltending. Doesn't have to be great goaltending, good goaltending, because it was a little shaky in that last round and they won in 5.
Yeah.
If they get good goaltending, they're going to win this. They're going to win this series. They can't afford any mistakes on the back line because right now the goaltending advantage, you have to say, lies with the Washington Capitals. Logan Thompson has been absolutely phenomenal. He's had a great season and a very good playoffs as well too. So goaltending is a big part of this one. But this is another one of those ones where instead of laying like a $1.70 on Carolina because they don't have home ice, I would take the -1.5, and it's plus 115 at DK right now. So Washington's going to have to go and do something that they haven't done, which is win in Carolina. Carolina is a very good home team, and especially in the playoffs. When the playoffs come, they are so solid on home ice. There's something about them. Uh, all they got to do is to win this series is win one game in Washington. So win one of the first two. I think they hold firm on home ice and they win this in 6 or less. I don't think this is a 7-game series. I think if we're going to see 7-game series, it's going to come in those Western Conference series. So I will take the Canes again, -1.5 games, plus 115 currently at DK. Guys, I want to remind you, our chat is absolutely bumping right now on YouTube. We actually love the comments from you guys. Whether you're watching on YouTube, the X, or Instagram, hit the like button, hit that heart button, drop a comment, let us know who you think is your best bet tonight, whether it's a side or a total or a shot prop, or who you think is going to win the series, what your best bet is. We appreciate hearing from you each and every time on the show. Andrew, Vegas Golden Knights and Edmonton. This opened up at -110 both ways. Vegas, some money coming in, -115. They have home ice in this one. Can the Oilers get past the Vegas Golden Knights?
I just want to mention and preface that all of our picks and stuff that we're talking about right now for these series, things could change. Like we could see something in game one that completely changes our mind. These are not client picks. All of these that I'm talking about right now aren't all bets that I've made. These are opinions on the series. Some of these series I am locking in bets on. Some of them I am going to go and wait until the series begins to learn from what I've seen here with this one. But again, very interesting here. Vegas, I think that they're a team that has the better goaltending situation. You know, shout out to Kyle Pickard. Hats off to him. But I don't care what anybody says. It's a problem, Carm, when, again, you don't really have a number one goaltender. Look, I'm cheering for Pickard. He's actually from the East Coast where I am right now. But at the end of the day, he is not a number one goalie. And when you look at the LA Kings, the way that they were choking away certain games, I don't really see the Vegas Golden Knights doing that. If you look at the series that Vegas had against Minnesota, a lot of the games they lost were when they went down early. But Vegas is a team that when they get a lead, they protect it, and they protect it very well. And LA were complete choke artists. I mean, LA went up 2-0 against Edmonton, and they lost 4 straight games. And I think in 2 of those 3 games, maybe, they had the lead in those games. And then Edmonton came back. I remember going to make something to eat or something, and it was 4-3 for LA. Next thing I know, it was 7-4 for Edmonton. I was like, oh my goodness, like I, probably shouldn't make something to eat at 11 o'clock at night anymore and just stop watching hockey, because this is what the Edmonton Oilers do. But I don't think this is what the Oilers can do against the Vegas Golden Knights. So yeah, do I want to see McDavid have success? Do I want to see him get his revenge? Because you know what? A lot of times, Carm, you talked about it earlier on in the show, the teams that lose in the Stanley Cup, it's not really a rare thing to see them go right back there again the next year. We've seen it a lot actually lately. But I just think that Vegas's defense, the size of their blue liners, the way they can keep guys out of the front of the net, that's going to be the biggest difference. So, and one thing about Vegas, they're so big on the blue line, and they were the least penalized team in the NHL this year. So they have so many physical players. They have a lot of veteran players on the blue line on defense, and they were the least penalized team in the NHL. That bodes well for a playoff series against none other than Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Carm, you don't want to give those guys power plays. So based on what I'm thinking we'll take Vegas to win this one.
I think we're on opposite sides on this one. I'm going to take Edmonton to make a run. I think they got a scare against the LA Kings, kind of like Winnipeg got the huge scare. And sometimes you bounce back. The Vegas did as well too against Minnesota. I think they thought they were probably going to roll them over in that series, and they didn't. A lot more scoring on this Edmonton team. Again, it comes back down to goaltending, and you look at, like, as we mentioned, Skinner. You sometimes you get out of that first round and there's that relief. Okay, as a goalie, okay, I'm not the guy who cost our team the first round and getting eliminated. Now they're into the second round. Familiar foes. There's been some low-scoring games between these two teams as well too. Edmonton's proven they can go into Vegas and win games, and if they take any penalties, the Oilers are going to make them pay for it. This series falls on one of two things, or basically on one thing. Does Connor McDavid have a monster series? And he had a huge playoffs last year, as you'll remember. And can the Vegas Golden Knights slow him down? The LA Kings, I don't know what they were thinking, giving him the blue line, but they blew those leads. The Oilers scored at one point. The Oilers had scored 11 of their 15 goals in the of that series in the third period. You cannot go into the third period trailing against the Vegas Golden Knights, because they are just going to bury you in the ice and not give you a lot of room. They won't make the same mistake the LA Kings have or did. Edmonton's going to have to get on Vegas early. Can they win one of two games um, in Vegas? I believe so. I think this is one where I can see multiple road games being won as well too, because the Vegas road game is a strong one as well too. Minus 105 on Edmonton. I think I'm going to take this one. I may actually sit taking the series price on this one out until after game one, Andrew, because if the Vegas Golden Knights win game one, you're going to get a much fatter price on the Edmonton Oilers plus money price. The one caveat to that is if Edmonton wins game one, they suddenly become a minus 150 or minus 160 favorite, and you've lost all chance to get them at even money. So that's a thought there as well too, guys. If you head over to Odds Logic, they have all of the series prices. You can see movements as they happen. You can also see any injury updates. This is an absolutely fantastic a site, and you can get 1 week for free. On tomorrow's show, we'll have a link for you as well too, where you can get this info. Absolutely great info for you. If you're a serious sports bettor, Odds Logic is where you want to be, and what you want to have, especially with obviously the NHL going on right now, but MLB baseball and then football around the corner. This is such a valuable tool, Andrew, for NFL football. Catch those line changes as they happen. I believe you can swap out the books on it as well too. Get some Vegas books in there if you want Circa, if you want Westgate. Get some of the other ones on there as well too. It's an absolutely great tool to have.
I love it.
So I figured I might as well mention the Vegas odds because we were talking the Vegas Golden Knights, Andrew. Let's finish it off with this one I am lost on. Listen, I said I felt bad for the team that loses Game 7 of that Colorado-Dallas series because I thought they were two the best teams in the Western Conference, and one of them gets bounced. But it's the NHL. It's the format, which I absolutely hate. But with that said, Andrew, minus 170 on the Dallas Stars. Is the thought process here that Dallas is that much better than Winnipeg, or that Winnipeg got grinded in a 7-game series? Dallas played a 7-game series as well too. Plus 145 on Winnipeg. I just don't get it. I do not get it. I'm taking Winnipeg plus 145. I get it. We normally don't see a lot of Canadian teams make it into the later rounds. We have 3 of 8 in the in the conference semifinals here. But plus 145, the whiteout in Winnipeg, and then building on momentum, a series in which they were 2 seconds from being eliminated from these playoffs, and now they're back. I don't think there's a letdown in game 1. I think they just go out there and play like they've played all season long. Give me plus 145. What are your thoughts on this one?
I feel the same way. I feel like the road games versus home games were the biggest thing and the biggest pill to swallow if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan or better. And of course, all the talk has been about Connor Hellebuyck, how he's performed at home versus on the road. And I guess the only good news, if you're looking to bet on Winnipeg right now in the series price or to win the Cup or to win the West or whatever it may be, is that this team is the President's Trophy winning team, which means that no matter when they're playing, who they're playing, they will have home ice advantage throughout the series. So as you see right there on the Odds Logic page, Winnipeg being that plus money price in game 1. And I'll tell you what, guys, one thing I really like using on Odds Logic, it's one of my favorite tools, is just taking a look at the opener. You take a look at the opener versus the current number and just kind of trying to work your way through there. And then you can organize the books. You say Pinnacle, Circa, South Point. Then you look at some books like DraftKings, FanDuel. And obviously the opener tells you a lot. But Mark Scheifele's injury is a concern. But I'll tell you what, we're not really sure when Heiskanen's going to be back and when Jason Robertson's going to be back. They said that Heiskanen will only return if Dallas makes it to the second round. But hey, you know what? Injuries happen, and until they make it that farther, until they keep going and announce that he's going to be out there, I'm right there with you on Winnipeg. I think they have a chance. I think they're a good defensive team, and I think Hellebuyck is going to be just so thankful that his team was able to crawl back with 1.6 seconds left, get the job done, and send him to the second round. Wanted to point out, though, that, you know, the difference in the series markets right now, the series market minus 160 Dallas, Winnipeg plus 135. Team futures to win the Stanley Cup right now, Winnipeg 9-1, Dallas 5-1. I think it's, if you like Dallas, if you like Winnipeg or Washington, I still believe there's value on both those teams. So as much as I'm saying the Hurricanes, you know, are a team that I like, there's still value, I believe, 10-1 in the Capitals. I can't lie about that. But when you look at Winnipeg here, if you like Winnipeg to win the series against the Dallas Stars, who a lot of people have ranked to be the team to beat, as we see Florida and Carolina are the top two, but they're both in the Eastern Conference. So if you take a look at Winnipeg right now at 9-1, I would pull the trigger on them to win the Stanley Cup, because you get to the conference finals with a 9-1 ticket, then you get to the Stanley Cup finals with a 9-1 ticket. You're looking pretty good. So, Carm, any thoughts real quick just on that 9-1 price for Winnipeg?
Yeah, at this point, when you got one of four teams that has home ice, and you're getting 9-1 on them to win the series. But I understand the price is high because, you know, not only do they have to get by the Dallas Stars, but then they've got to get by the Vegas Golden Knights or the Edmonton Oilers in the next round, and then they're likely going to meet another very strong team. So it's not like, let's say, March Madness, where your bracket has some upsets in it and you get an easier path as like a number one seed. But it does happen. So, you know, 9-1, Andrew. It what it does is when you get these 9-1 and 10-1, they may offer you an opportunity. And I do this a lot in European soccer. It's going to afford you some opportunities to hedge out profits. If you're just a straight better, sides, totals, props, then so be it. But if you're looking for sometimes to arbitrage and hedge plays in order to just to build your bankroll because you have a bankroll, then taking a good price on a team like Winnipeg in this spot, you can make some money off of it. Perlo, who drops some pearls of wisdom each and every day on in our chat. Andrew, he said, how about the Winnipeg Jets to win game one and Dallas to win the series?
That's a cool
Plus
bet.
320, plus 320 on that.
That's cool.
Over at DK, plus 320 Perlo. Thank you for dropping that in our live chat. Absolutely appreciate it.
This comment here,
320.
Carm,
Who
from
doesn't
Willow.
like?
I like that one because he says, I don't see Hellebuyck having any easier time with the Stars if he struggled so much with the Blues. At the end of the day, though, people keep forgetting the Winnipeg Jets were a couple seconds away from losing, but are people forgetting that the Stars were like 4 minutes away from losing too? It's like people are forgetting about that. They were down 2-0 most of the game. So it's not like the Stars dominated the Avalanche. When they were up 2-1 in the series against Colorado, they were leading for 70 seconds. 70 seconds, and they were up 2-1. So this team has taken, with all the talent that they have, they really haven't, Cale Makar didn't play well. Drouin didn't play. Brock Nelson, that looked like the worst trade of the year. Colorado really didn't play well. McKinnon averaged a goal per game and the team lost. He did all he can do. So I think that, Hellebuyck did struggle on the road big time. But at the end of the day, let's not forget that before Rantanen put the superhero cape on, Carm, they had 0 goals in the first 55 minutes of that game 7. So I'm not ready to reward Dallas as this absolute wagon until I see them, because you know what? Winnipeg plays a very similar style that Dallas does. So, all right. Dan wants us to wrap things up, giving out our picks, and
Yeah,
obviously we're going to be talking on a
yeah.
daily basis about these series as well, because there will be some. And guys, here's the deal. All right, because someone talked about this the other day in a live chat or in the comments afterwards. You can find our favorite and best picks at WagerTalk. You guys know that we give as much as we can on PuckTime here. All we ask, give us a follow on our X accounts at McInnis Picks, at Carmine WT. Like and subscribe to the WagerTalk channel. And if you want to get our best bets, you want to get our picks at WagerTalk, we always mention the great deals. The one you've been seeing scrolling on the bottom of the screen the whole time right now, 3 weeks of picks for the price of 2. It's a deal going right now, and there's so many great deals we have offered at wagertalk.com. But yes, like last week, we didn't talk about every single series that was going on or every single game because we're doing this show, but we also sell picks at WagerTalk. So if we give out all of our opinions and every single thing we like, none of you guys will want to join us over there. So we appreciate all of you guys. We love the camaraderie. We love popping you guys on the screen. And Chris, Russell, Titan CT, Evans, Nebraska, Willow, all of you guys, it sure means a lot that you're here with us. So that's just what I wanted to add in there, Carm. And now it's going to be mostly just 1 or 2 games a day for the rest of the playoffs, man. So any final thoughts and then close us out, Carm?
Yeah. So up at Wager Talk right now, 2 plays this afternoon in European soccer, last 3 weeks of the season there, and some good betting opportunities. 1 play up for tonight in the NHL, but I've added 2 bonus plays, which are 2 series plays that I've taken as well too. So you'll get those as well too. 24-5 run, should have been 25-4, but Colorado forgot to play defense. But with that said, I digress. Head over to Wager Talk. You can pick that up, and that we appreciate you guys tuning in each and every day. Friday, we'll have a show tomorrow, but tune in Friday when our series thoughts are going to probably likely change after all the game ones that happen. But we'll talk about it on Friday's show as well, too, guys. So we'll see you tomorrow. For myself, Andrew McInnis, and our award-winning producer, Dan Alexander, this is Puck Time. Best of luck with your wagers, guys.